So, episode 2 of the Big Carp Buzz is now live on YouTube, and judging by the comments, you're all really enjoying it. Not quite as easy as it was in Germany. Obviously, it wasn't pre-baited, and sort of local knowledge put us on all the going spots. You know, I had to go to a lake, know nothing about it, and work it out from start to finish. You know, caught a lovely 42-pound common, and yeah, ultimately, I was over the moon with that. In this short video, I want to talk to you a little bit about the line that I used in that session and the line that I use when I'm targeting venues that I don't really know much about. You know, CarpLine is my first choice. A lot of people might be surprised to know that that's the cheapest line that Korda do. Obviously, there's Touchdown, which is the reduced stretch line. There's Subline, which is the fast sinking line, and then there's CarpLine, which is just the general purpose, ultra durable workhorse. You know, it's never let me down, and because of that, and because I've used it so much, I'm a bit stubborn. I don't want to change, and I just like it. You know, it's a really nice product. Knots well, casts well, sinks well. Yeah, I can't think of what else I want from a line. I generally use it in 15, but if I'm fishing short range, then I might use 20 pounds. You know, I use the 15 cast well for me up to about 120 yards. And if I'm fishing much shorter than that, then you can get away with a 20. And I don't see any need not to use as heavy a line as possible. You know, strong line will land you more fish over the course of the season. You know, if you imagine you have something so thick, and each nick out of it is a percentage. So something thicker, each nick is a smaller percentage, and over the course of the season, you will land more fish using thicker line. So in this video, a couple of quick re-spooling tips, you know, beginner's tips. You know, a lot of you might have been doing this for years and know all of this already, but there's plenty of people out there on YouTube that are just getting into it. And I just want to give you a few tips on re-spooling. The first thing to do when you take a spool off your rod and off your reel, and you're going to look at it, and if it's loading top heavy, you're probably missing a washer off the bottom of the reel. And if it's loading bottom heavy, you might have too many washers on, and that can happen when you take off a spool, washer sticks to the inside and ends up being transferred onto a different reel, and you might end up with too many washers. So like I say, too many washers, and it will be building up at the bottom, and not enough washers, and it will be building up at the top. As you can see by that, really nicely, evenly distributed, absolutely perfect. Taking the line off, you know, if you're going to get rid of your old line, I've seen Danny Fairbrass with a Stanley knife, and I wouldn't recommend that because you slip, you cut your finger, and then you can also damage the spool. I tend to just put 2 distance sticks out of my garden. It doesn't matter how far apart they are, and I just take it off around the distance sticks. You know, I go around distance sticks all the time. I can do it quite quickly, and you'd be amazed how quickly it is to take off your line. Attaching the line to the spool, you know, the bottom of the spool, you know, is never going to see the light of the day. So ultimately that knot is not really important. You know, when I have knotted to the bottom of the spool, I've tended to use a double overhand granny knot because it's never gonna see the light of day. But in this case, I've used tape. You know, you might be surprised, but it doesn't matter that can be pulled off with your hands. What it means is when you put it on there with a piece of tape, that there's no knot, so you end up with no lumps in the spool as the lines goes up and down as the spool goes up and down like that. You know, you don't end up with any lumps and bumps. So I tend to put it on with tape. Nice, simple, really easy way to do it. Monofilament takes on water. So what that means is when it's in the lake, it absorbs, and it's better to spool it up if it has been soaked in water first. So I tend to put mine in a bucket out in the garden. I've done it with lukewarm water, I've done it with cold water. I've not really noticed much difference, but soak it in water for a couple of hours before you put it on. And the thing to remember is the line comes off of the reel, in this case with the label up, that's coming off anti-clockwise. And it goes onto the reel clockwise. So what that means is every coil that's put into your line anti-clockwise is counteracted by the reel. So it's counteracting itself each time, so it's reducing the amount of twist that you get in the line. Some people put it on like a Catherine wheel, like that, with a pencil through it, and that is fine as well. But what you don't want it coming off the spool clockwise and going onto the reel clockwise, because in that situation you're creating loads and loads of twist, and your line just won't be on your reel as nice as it could be. As for putting it on, you know, once it's been soaked in the water, it will have absorbed a little bit. You just got to make sure you put it onto the reel under tension. So I tend to get a wet towel and lay the line through the wet towel, grip it like that against the rod bank with my sort of rod running down here, sort of elbow to where the reel seat is, and then I just even tension, you know, slow and steady, just wind it on there, and you're looking to get it. I like a little bit of a lip, you know. I've seen people really brim their reels because they think it's going to help them cast further. And the difference between being overfilled and underfilled in distance casting is so minimal. And also what I tend to find is it might be overfilled for a few casts and then eventually it'll be on there badly. You'll cast out, you'll get a frap up, you'll have to cut off 30-40 yards and you'll be back to where it should have been in the first place. So always leave yourself a little bit of a lip, but don't make that massive. And my recommendation would be to put 2 to 250 meters on your reels, because there's no need for any more than that unless you're boating out really far. You know, you're not gonna, that line is getting wasted. It's never going to see the light of day. So there you have it. They're my tips for spooling up. CarpLine, ultra cheap, ultra reliable. Give it a go.